Git cloning. As we discussed earlier, Git cloning is nothing but copying. Now, for example, Deepak has placed this code into some kind of repository and Ramu wants to get it into his local system. So what will he do? He will do a clone which will basically get the entire code into his local system. Now, for example, Ramu's task is to change this where b is equal to 5 to where b is equal to 10. So what will he do? He will do that change where b is equal to 5 to where b is equal to 10. Then he will have the updated code which will be sent to the repository again. So this is what actually happens in a typical company. So let's look at the diagram. So if you see here, this is a project which was placed in some kind of repositories like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, etc. Now all the developers who wants to work on this project are going to clone this project into their own local systems. So once they clone that project into their own local system, so they'll have the same code which is available here under this central project. So once they are done with their task, they'll again push it back to the same repository. So this is what actually happens in any company. I hope you have got the actual use of clone. So let me go to the practical session. So if you ever wants to get any kind of project into your own local system, what you have to do, you have to basically does a clone. While doing a clone, you should say git clone followed by something here, which is basically a repository. Okay, which is basically a repository URL. Let me show that once. So I have opened Google Chrome and this is a repository which was named as sample project. So sample project is the name of the repository which has this code, which has a folder called assets, tests, about.html, home.html and some other pieces of files. Now, for example, if you would like to get this project into your own local system, okay, so if you look at this page, somewhere there is a button called code. Have you found that? Yes, it is here. So this is called code, which says that if you use this button, you can get this entire code into your own local system. So let me click on that button. So it says clone with HTTPS. Okay, HTTPS is nothing but a protocol. And similarly, there is an option called use SSH. If you click on use SSH, you can clone the project using a protocol called SSH. So few of the companies will use HTTPS protocols and few of the companies will use SSH protocol. So it depends on company by company. So so here we are going to use HTTPS protocol. So I'm going to click on HTTPS protocol and here if you say it is saying that clone with HTTPS. So I'm going to clone this URL or basically I could say this project using HTTPS protocol. So for that I'm going to click on this button which is going to copy this URL. So I just clicked on that and after that what you have to do, you have to open your local git bash. So I'm going to open the local git bash. For that I just clicked on my Windows button in my Windows system and then I said git. So it is going to open up something like git bash. So I'm going to click on this. Okay, this is going to open up git bash for us. Okay, so if you haven't installed git bash into your local system so far, you can watch our previous tutorials to get it installed into your local system. So the first thing that you have to do once you open git bash is to identify the place where you want to place that project into. So here if I say ls, it is going to list all the directories, right? So here I want to place that project into a folder called git project. So here I have a folder called git project. So I'm going to move to that folder. So I'm going to say cd, which is basically changing the directory. Cd stands for change the directory, and I'm going to say git projects. Okay, so now I am under git projects, and if I say ls here, I have few projects here. It says my project, SureshTechs, and these are the two projects which I have already. So I'm going to clear the console, which is going to clear up all this data. So this is just going to clear the output, nothing else. So I'm going to say clear. Okay, that's good. Now let me clone the project. So here I have a project called sample project. That's great. So I want this project to be placed into my own local system. So for that what I am going to do, I am going to do a clone using clone with HTTPS. And for that I just clicked on this, which has basically copied this URL. So now I am going to say git clone followed by that URL. So I am going to, oh, what happened? What happened? I don't know what happened. I don't know what I have copied. Okay, let me just clear it once. So I'm going to copy it once again. Okay, I just copied it. I don't know whether it is copying or not. I believe it's copying. Okay, I just copied it. So I'm going to say git clone and then I'm going to paste it. Oh, this time it's fine. I don't know what happened previously. So I'm going to give an enter. So now it takes some time to get that project downloaded. I believe it's downloaded. Now if you say ls, look at here, you have got sample project into your local system and the name is sample project. Where does this name coming from? If you look at here, the name of the repository, which is basically the sample project, right? So this is what the name of the repository is. So at any time if you clone any kind of project, it is going to create a folder with the name of the repository. So here the name of the repository is the sample project, and that's why it has created a folder called sample project into your own local system. So if you go to that project by saying cd followed by sample project, okay, I'm going to give ls. Look at here, so you have about.html assets. Where does all this coming from? Okay, look at here, assets, tests, about.html, home.html, john, and testing.txt, right? Look at here, and you have all the information into your local system. So that's what a clone will do. Clone is nothing but getting the project from any kind of repositories into your own local system. So now you have cloned this project and you got into your local system. So now you can basically do your own tasks. Okay, cool. This is really working fine and you have got the project into your local system. But one question here is, whenever you are cloning the project, by default it is going to create a folder with the name of the repository, right? Because the name of the repository here is sample project and you have got the same directory created into your local system and you are not happy with this directory name, and if you want to create some other name instead of this sample project, you can do that. So how do you do that? You have to say git clone followed by the repository URL followed by the name which you would like to give. So I am going to do that now. So for that, what I'll do here is I am just going back once. So I'm going to list. So previously I have this sample project. I'm going to delete it now. So for that I'm going to say rm-rf and I'm going to say sample project. Okay, it's deleted. If you say ls, you don't have that project. Okay, so I'm going to just clear it once. So if you say ls, you don't have the project. Right now what I will do is I'll say git clone followed by the repository URL. Okay, so I'm going to copy it from here and then I'm going to paste it here. Okay, now if you enter, it is going to create the project with the name of this repository, which is nothing but a sample project. But I don't want this sample project name into my local system as a folder. So what I want instead, I want something like cool project. Okay, I am going to press enter. Okay, now if you look at here, I'm going to say ls. Look at here, you have got the project with the name which you have specified, which is nothing but cool project. And if you go to the cool project, okay, I'm going to say ls. Look at here, so you have all the files and folders which are listed in this repository, right? Assets, tests, about.html. Look at here, assets, and then tests, testing.txt. So you have basically got all the files and folders which are listed in this repository. Okay, so that's great. So today we talked about git cloning, right? If you ever clone any kind of project, it is going to by default provide you a folder with the name of the repository, and if you ever want that folder to be named something different, you could do that using git clone followed by the git repository URL and then the preferred name.